How I scaled my online marketing agency in Slovakia from 0 to 60k euros per month. So, hello guys, welcome to my first video whatsoever on this channel. So, in today's video, I would like to really shortly, briefly explain to you how I was able to scale my online marketing agency offering meta paid ads strategy for healthcare and HVAC, and I was able to scale from 0 to 60k per month in this small country. At first using, of course, cold outreach, so cold calling, and then later on leveraging, of course, the cash flow, money, the name, case studies, and leveraging them in terms of running paid ads. So I will dive into it. First of all, cold outreach. What you should guys do if you want to sign your first few clients in that area, that space, or whatsoever in terms of selling your service or something else. So let's get into it. Something about me and my backstory. I am 29 years old. My name is Ivan. I'm from Slovakia. I was born here. I always wanted to be entrepreneur. I always wanted to have my own company. I always knew that it's something more in me and I have more skills and I'm capable of doing that and of bringing value and making more money than I'm doing right now. After I finished my school, I started doing sales. I was doing cold calling, so I was working for a call center, which was pain in the ass and crazy, not good job, annoying, and I was nervous and everything, but I'm naturally, I would say, more introverted person, so I didn't know how to communicate whatsoever. Let's get back when I was 20. I couldn't order the pizza and I was like completely clueless and I didn't know how to communicate or how to do it. That was actually my first really serious job, so cold calling and selling like cell phone service or something like this in Slovakia. And then I pursued my career in sales, so I was working at Telefonica or something. We offered basically the telephone services, so but I was working in a regular location, so not through online or through phone. And after that, I was a salesman and a sales guy, and more like a local company. So Husqvarna, we were selling garden accessories or something like this. So, but I always was in that area and this industry, and I was sales guy always. But I always knew from the beginning that I have more in me. So that's why I was like, okay, what should I do? I want to have my own business, but I was too lazy before that to really start something, because I knew that you really need to be persistent, be able to invest time, be disciplined and everything. But yeah, later on, my entrepreneurship journey started with dropshipping, actually. I started and I designed my first dropshipping Shopify store. I started testing few different products and running my first ads and everything. But of course, I didn't know nothing about branding, about marketing, about social media, etc. So it failed. I did try, let's say, 15, 20 products. I invested in that time a lot of money into marketing, into meta ads, so Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, I sold like maybe 5, 10 pieces. Yeah. So it wasn't successful. But anyways, it led me to different paths, different product and service, which was meta ads. So I was like, I'm really good at communication and selling, so I should leverage this. And with dropshipping, of course, you are behind the scenes. So it's just about testing products and you don't really leverage your personal like skills. That's why I decided to go in that area, social media marketing, agencies, etc. So I was like, okay, if I can provide value to the company owner, he will pay me more money and I can leverage my personal communication skills and selling skills to be able to sell them this service. So I was like, okay, I should do this. So I dive into this. I watched every video on YouTube on how to do marketing and how to do online social media marketing and everything. I paid for programs. So this is lesson number 1 that I'm practicing to this day, and I'm investing a lot of money into different courses and different programs. And this is something that I entirely recommend to you to do. Save a little bit of money, 500-600 euros. You can have, and you can find really good programs for 500-600 euros. That's what I did. I paid for a program which basically helped me to create agency, create LLC. Of course, in Slovakia, it's different in every country, but from nothing to something. So yeah, invest in getting better and in being better person every day, this would be my first recommendation for you to do. So this is a little bit about me, about my backstory, and now I really want to provide some value to you guys. So I would like to dive into my 3 simple steps on how you should start if you want to really sign your first clients and really start your, let's say, SMMA journey, or how to basically close new clients. Yeah. Step number 1 is daily prospecting and picking your niche. It's really important for you to be really specialized in one niche, and depends how many options do you have and how many prospects do you can reach out to. But basically, you want to try, if you're starting, that would be my approach, to start with few different niches and see in what niche you can bring crazy and good results and over deliver, because you really need to have your first case studies so you can leverage those case studies and use them in your presentations with your future prospects. So in my personal opinion, it don't need to be something that you are interested in that much. I'm not interested like crazy about healthcare or HVAC. I considered the overall market, which healthcare and their capability of paying for ads, it was really something that I thought about, and I thought that it's really good to start running the ads for companies like this. At the beginning, you really want to find niche that is really easy to get in touch with decision maker as fast as possible. For example, healthcare, there is always gatekeeper, which his one job is to stop you reaching out to or getting in touch with the owner or the doctor. In comparison to HVAC, when oftentimes you can get in touch immediately with the owner. So that is something that you need to think about, because it's really hard to get to the owner or the doctor when there is a gatekeeper in the way. After you will pick your niche, you just start scraping leads. So there are a few softwares for that. For example, I use ListSwift, but if you don't have actually any money, you will just trade your time for that. So you can do it on your own and just start typing in Google, let's say HVAC in my city, let's say HVAC in London or somewhere else, and you will just need to go case by the case and start scraping owner's name and what's the company name and number and everything. You really can do it without any investment, but you will invest your time, so we will trade your time for that. But do your prospecting and start cold calling. My suggestions towards cold calling is just write down your script, master your opener and discovery. So master your opener in terms of you really need to spark the interest of your potential customer and prospect in first few seconds. That means that you need to get your first yes from them as fast as possible. For example, what worked for me in HVAC industry was like ask them about their capacity and in this very moment. So if they would be able to do more installations. Hopefully most of the cases, and in my experience, most of the cases, if you will say this really in conversational way, not really pushy, most of them will say yes, that they have more capacity for, and they can do more installations, of course, because they are businessmen and company owners. So every company owner has more capacity and is willing to take on more clients and more installations. In my experience, 90% of people said yes. So this was my first yes that I got. And I could later on really dive into, okay, perfect. So we are company, we are social media marketing agency who focuses on exactly the same niche that you are in. So on HVAC companies, and we bring them more clients and we assure that they do more installations, and even during in no season like times. So let's say HVAC is really seasonal. So in the summer, of course, everyone wants a conditioner. I was like, that was my pitch, that we can really bring them more installations in no season times, so in winter and everything. So you need to find your USP, so unique selling proposition, to be able to really schedule the meeting with them. So that would be my approach. That is something that worked for me. So this was step 2. Of course, there are basics like be direct, be respectful. That's why it is important to focus on one niche, because after a certain period of time, you will be able to analyze the pattern and the way they speak, and you will be able to adjust your copy to that and be more effective. So you will be able to schedule more meetings if you will be focused only on one niche. So yeah, that would be my approach. And like I said, focus on their problem. So let's say their problem with not having enough installations, not your pitch. So don't explain to them your service on this phone call. Just say to them, okay, I can bring you this amount of new clients, that value, and let's discuss everything on online meeting, on in-person meeting, which in the beginning works really the best, in my opinion. Meet your prospects in person, you can close the most. In the beginning, when you don't have enough case studies to leverage, just don't pitch your services in this phone call. Just provide, explain to them what amount of value, what amount of results or new installations you can bring to them, or amount of leads. And if you will say you are running ads or meta ads, Facebook and Instagram ads for HVAC companies, they will judge you by that. And they say that, okay, they have a lot of experience with companies and with agencies, and most of them, they're rubbish and they can't deliver. So yeah, you don't want to dive into this one. Step number 3, which is really important, is to follow up. And if you will not hear yes or no, you just need to overcome the objections, which we can talk about later on, how to overcome the most, like the common ones in terms of objections and how to handle them, because you will hear a lot of them in cold calling as well and later on in sales presentation. But anyways, just do follow-ups until you will hear yes or no, because there is always chance. Be prepared to experience really hard conversations. Like I said, it is all about numbers. So if you do 100 cold calls, there is huge chance that 90 of those will be just rubbish and bad, and they will send you to hell. And just be prepared for that. You need to have strong enough why to persist and to be consistent and to overcome those. But 10 out of those 100 will be really good, and you will be able to schedule maybe 5, 6 if you are good and if you are getting better. And out of those 6, you will be able to close few. So this is basically it. It's some sort of funnel that you need to go through. Yeah, this would be it for today's videos. I don't want to be that long, so type in the comment section what I should talk about, what I should dive into it. And I have few topics that I want to run through and in next videos, and I want to provide as much value as possible and what worked for me. And how I scaled my online marketing agency from 0 to 60K a month in small Slovakia. You can Google this country is really small, and how I managed to do it in 2 niches. So yeah, comment down below what you're interested in and what I should dive into. And yeah, follow for more like this. It was a pleasure. Cheers, guys.